Good morning, everybody. We're here to talk about Agile outside the bubble of software development. A bit of background about us. Sophie-Kim Chapman
Etienne Yuan.
And together we have 14 years of shared experience working at, originally for me with the JV team, putting Sony and Ericsson together, up until, as it is now, Sony Mobile Communications. Our shared experience is a part of the digital team, managing the digital team, or managing the .com in my case, and then managing the requirements of a large bunch of stakeholders within the organization. We first adopted Agile as a software development methodology for web in 2003, and there have been many changes along the way in terms of the way that we have worked with Agile development. So this presentation is really an attempt to distill 14 years of experience into 10 minutes. We'll see how successful we are. One main thing that we want to talk about today then is how we have experienced Agile versus the business. And for the business, you can read mainly marketing. On the business side, nearly all business management processes are predictive. They're trying to predict an outcome. What's culturally important on the business side is perceived success. So saying that something was a success is very important. And a start-stop mentality, or deadlines, launching a product, launching a website, these are all very much features of the way that business manages projects.
And Agile is built on a very basic premise, and that's that information is incomplete when you work in an unpredictable environment. Therefore, you need to be testing the whole time. You don't know stuff, so you test. When you test, sometimes you will fail. When you fail, you need to adapt. And consequently, the best approach to do things is in a cyclical way, iterations. You revisit things all the time. And that causes some tensions with the way business is run traditionally.
So what we find is that these tensions and this polarization actually tends to create a bubble within which an Agile methodology operates, and then outside of the bubble is the rest of the business. From the business perspective then, some of the issues that this tension creates is the business sees the project as resisting change. Even though Agile is a methodology designed to account for change, the business doesn't see it that way. They see that when they bring a change, the project resists it. Also, that the project demands too much of their time. It's not like a project where you specify and then hand over. It's something where you have to be involved the whole way through. And on the scope side, this is a very critical issue. The business is not necessarily aware of what they're paying for, and doesn't feel that the project can commit to a scope that they can then communicate on to other stakeholders.
Sometimes on the project side, I think, why is the business so bad at planning? Why are they so bad at prioritizing things? I think there's two things, right? One is we're not synchronizing the cycles. One is cultural, and that is that because you're linear, then you don't get the feedback from the data as you go through the cycles, right? So there's a phenomenon called the kickoff. You know kickoffs? The highest income, the opinion of the highest income person in the room, and that's essentially a disregard for the data that's coming in. So there's two things, right? The apparent lack of planning, which is a result of the synchronization of the cycles, and the other one is the lack of ability to deal with real-time data as we explained.
So, can't see this very well, but some ideas that have helped us deal with these tensions. For me, the problem is basically a cultural one in the beginning, and I find that, especially on the marketing side of business, there is a culture that finds failure very difficult to accept, and therefore finds adaptive methods very difficult to accept. What's worked for me there is really focusing on this idea of everything being test-driven, focusing on the idea of experimentation, helping business stakeholders to articulate goals and hypotheses in a way that they're not really used to.
Yeah, and on the project side, when you're working Agile, it is really encouraging things are uncertain. But we sometimes need to realize that business processes are built differently. They're linear. They are more waterfall, right? And therefore, they're less able to adapt to quick change as a project is. Is work towards iterations. Because let's face it, Agile was originally a development methodology. So the Agile team tends to be a little bit more advanced in terms of its adoption of cyclical methodologies. So we need to sometimes wait for the business to catch up because they do have rigidities, particularly in the budgeting area and commitments to internal stakeholders or customers or suppliers.
On the second of our three things, it's about how you cost and plan things, and this is really just a history. When we started out using Agile as a software development methodology, we budgeted for projects in the way that we had previously, and we quickly found that after every project we had to do a release 1.1 and release 1.2 for things that hadn't been costed out. This was a problem, right? So after this we moved to a model where essentially we put go live in the middle of the project. We planned up front for the idea that there would be a release 1.1 or a release 2.1 or a release 2.2 because there wouldn't necessarily be things left out of the originally wanted scope if we were going to use Agile. And ultimately we ended up not with projects but with a program of continuous development. So the budgeting process on my side as the business owner of the website became removed from projects entirely.
And we were talking about the development model, right? And we have a secret weapon. Project owners, product owners, and the project has a secret weapon. And I mean, when I say secret weapon, it's not a strength, it's a weakness. It shouldn't be a secret. It should be openly shared. You have the project backlog, the product backlog, and you have all the things. Actually, it contains all the information the business wants. It really does. Sometimes what we do is we do not construct it in a way that is business friendly. For example, get rid of the development costs. Use hours or dollars. Right? Very simple stuff. In my experience, when you openly share the product backlog, you can always, almost always answer any question the business has. And they will always respect your decisions because of the transparency. So when you openly share the backlog and you co-prioritize things with other people, ironically, you actually get much more leeway in the way you run the project. And you actually get much more say on how to prioritize requirements for the good of the project and the organization because of the trust. And trust gives you a lot of, it opens up the field.
Okay, so to kind of wrap this up, how are we planning? 9 minutes. Sorry? 9. Okay. The essential thing is really to try not to create this bubble. So it is about helping different sides of an organization to understand how each other works and to try to get closer and find a common way of working so that you don't get this them and us situation.
And so let's get rid of the clearance run up here, right? So if you have a task which is very predictable, right? It's actually leaner to not use a cyclical iterative development methodology. It's actually better to use water. Get rid of that, right? Because otherwise it's too expensive. There's too much overhead communication and seeking one to do that. On the other hand, if the task is unpredictable, if you do not have enough information, then linear won't work. You don't know stuff. You cannot make decisions up front and then just go on in the end, right? So you need to do things in a cyclical way. So the thing is to find a sweet spot. The thing is to find a sweet spot in terms of linearity versus iteration, and see where, based on task and organization, you should be sitting in terms of the tools that you use. The problem, so that's task number 1, right? No other combination. The problem is that the challenges that we have, and we know we have, tend to be more of the uncertain type. Therefore, we need to help also, and that's what we do, help organizations as well to move towards a setup that allows them to deal with this uncertainty and working with us.
Thank you.